On your left.
One of the things I noticed, my personal lens from what I can see, and I do a lot of listening, and I've been in a successful relationship for about 17, 18, going on 18 years. And to be a young brother, that's big. I'm not, you know, I'm not in my 40s or nothing like that's big for a young brother. So it's not necessarily, and I can't wait. This is a much needed conversation. So I can't wait to hear your response to this. From what I see, definitely everything y'all saying is 100% facts. But one of the biggest things that we're missing, especially in the conscious community, I feel as though because we're so concentrated on pandering to women that we're completely disregarding men's feelings in terms of what they're going through in society, because we're so fixated on telling a woman how perfect she is. So, and I'm not a nigga that I've been in a relationship for 18 years. You know what I'm saying? I get my, you know, I'm successful at that. You know, the brothers. So when they hear a brother like Kevin Samuels, even if he is a little extreme, they'll run with that, because at least he's acknowledging a feeling that they suppressing inside. It seems like the conscious community is like, no, it's all your fault, and they're like, no. Women aren't taking no accountability for nothing. No, I have a point. Listen to me. Listen. And we're like, no. The women are the goddess. They're perfect. Black woman is God, which is true. The black woman is God, just like the black man is God. But it seems as though the disregard for men's feelings about, I done seen some fucked up shit with women. I heard Terry Crews said it, women can never be wrong. That's the furthest thing from the truth. I done met some fucked up women in my life. Tell a nigga in a second that baby's yours and know damn well that baby ain't his. You know how fucked up of a soul you gotta be to tell a brother the baby is his and it's not his. This is an ongoing thing. I see it in the closeness. I don't want to say names and somebody watching, but family that I know. Yeah. Nigga, that ain't even your baby. Yeah. You playing dumb, acting like it's yours. She know it ain't yours, and the joke's on you. Everybody else know it ain't yours. Yeah. So I done seen the most grimy acts committed to men, and when brothers try to talk about it, it's like the conscious community shuts them down and tells them, listen, you didn't have a father, you had mommy issues, you got to work on this, you got to work on that. So they go to the extreme. They're like, they don't know how to handle that, so they just go to the extreme and go to Tommy Sotomayor, who's absolutely absurd and just says all types of crazy shit about women. So talk to me about maybe perhaps brothers are being ignored with the problems they're presenting to the table, and y'all just telling them it's your fault, nigga, and they're like, oh shit, wait a minute, it ain't the woman's fault. Y'all like, no, nigga, it's your fault. You the bad. You supposed to talk to me about that, bro.
Well, sometimes I crack myself up. Okay, I stumbled onto this. Actually, it was in the Telegram. Somebody turned me on to this. This is a video with three, what I call, what we identified as conscious community, Hotep, pro-black. Real ones, not the fake ones that we see on YouTube most of the time. These are real hardcore, stomp down conscious community people, especially Supernova Slam, who's the son of Queen Afua, who I've known about for the last, I'd say 23 years. Okay, I've known about him since he was like a teenager rapping through a friend of mine. So these are real deal conscious community, pro-Hotep, pro-black, okay, whatever you want to call them. And what Black Magic 363 actually said was spot on. I've been saying that a long time, right? That the conscious community is basically a matriarchy, right? He didn't say matriarchy, but what he's saying is that the conscious community, the pro-black, the Hotep community, whatever you want to call them. I think Hotep is a derogatory term, right? But in this case, I'm going to use it. They're so into praising and benefiting and pushing up on women and emphasizing women that they have not for a very long time emphasized the feeling of men. In fact, I don't think they ever did. The closest we ever came is Shahrazad Ali. That's the closest we ever came. Maybe Kiwanja Kunjufu with the plight of black boys or teaching black boys. Outside of that, for the most part, the emphasis has been on pretty much women. And women do rule these communities. Even the Black Panthers, the vast majority of the members of the Black Panthers were women. This is a matriarchy. Pro-black reflects that. Go to Nation of Islam. The vast majority of the workers in the Nation of Islam are females, are black females. So in the black community, any of these organizations or these main organizations or even subgroups as the conscious community is ruled by women, which is one of the reasons that even though I still work in the arena, I understand, and I have been made to understand that who the bosses really are in this community. It's not the men. And if you listen to the conscious community, listen to their language, they praise the women constantly. Why? Because the community would fall apart if you didn't praise the women. If you didn't kiss the women's asses, it would fall apart. And he, just for an instant, talked about this, because we're talking about the manosphere. We're talking about the red pill. And just for an instant, you heard him. You know, the little clip that I saw, it was like an hour and a half video, right? But that little clip was the concern. And immediately, you know, I didn't play it, but there's immediate pushback. Immediately, they took the blame off the conscious community, put emphasis on the men and put the blame on the men, that they weren't good enough, that they didn't try hard enough, that they didn't work on themselves enough. But you never hear them talk about that as far as women is concerned. We praise them, we call them queens, we fluff up their heads, and we talk positivity to them, and we leave them blameless. But then we never focus on the needs of the men. We never focus on the needs of the men within that society. They focus on the needs of the men so that the men can actually serve the women. How come you don't get your black queen? It's because you're not good enough. You haven't worked on yourself enough. And you can't get her unless you are absolutely perfect and you've done all your work. Doesn't matter what she is. But if this instance coming out of a brother's mouth that's in the conscious community, and these are something that most black people in this community, in this milieu, in this culture will deny. They'll sit up and deny it. They'll push back on it. But the thing is, what I want to emphasize on this, in this video, is that the narrative is changing, because you would not have heard this even a year ago. So definitely not 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. You wouldn't have heard this. They wouldn't be talking about the manosphere except to downgrade it. They're still trying to downgrade it. But they wouldn't have been talking about it. But the thing is, the narrative is starting to change, because before we were nuts, we were incels, we were lost brothers, we hated women, we were misogynists, we were a whole bunch of other things, right? But now, post-COVID, now with the economy starting to change, now black men have a point. The manosphere now has a point. They have concerns that need to be looked at. Now there's a crack of light to where we have to look at these men not as lepers and rejects and incels and no goods, right? We have to look at these men as human beings that have their own concerns, and we got to listen. Instead of yelling at them and shaming them, we got to listen to these people. Even the brother FD Signifier, who's supposed to be deconstructing the manosphere, especially the black manosphere, he started hearing stuff and realized, wait a minute, this is not some flattened organization, right? There's layers to this organization, and there's intelligence in this organization, in this culture, in this black subculture. And they have very valid concerns that have not been addressed, that need to be listened to, that need to be adhered to, and they need to be given a voice in these other platforms instead of trying to be shamed. Shaming is not going to work. It's too late for shaming. It's too late for trying to put these brothers back into the hole. Kevin Samuels, they thought they got rid of Kevin Samuels. I told you Kevin Samuels is a martyr now. They can't touch him. And every time they mention his name, guess what? They spread it. So what they fear is that this little box we call the Black Manosphere would expand and get attention and get some kind of momentum and some spread. We have that. That's why I call it escape velocity. That's why it had to break out of its little box and become mainstream. Everybody said that the Black Manosphere would never become mainstream, much less the Manosphere. It is definitely mainstream now. Have high schoolers talking about Kevin Samuels in the Black Manosphere. They're using terms like Black nationalism. They're using terms like misandrist. So the narrative is now turning. The narrative is now seeking its balance. And as Spock said, sauce for the goose. The odds are even. And that's all the Black Manosphere and black men wanted. And what they really want is a level playing field to compete in, instead of that slanted upside down world, upside down box that we've been put in for the last 200 years. Playing field is leveling out, and at some point the odds are going to get even. And when the odds get even, that's when we can actually do our work. And that's coming because it has to. The pendulum can't swing to the left all the time, right? It's got to come back right. And what you're seeing is this pendulum coming back to the right. Is it there yet? No, but it's on its way. And once the pendulum starts its motion back the other way, that's called momentum. And in history, karma, culture, right? Once the momentum starts, it can't be stopped until it's finished. The narrative has changed. And a lot of people that are pushing that counter narrative about black men for so long and taking advantage of it, they're shaking in their boots because they know the narrative has changed. And now they're trying to scramble, trying to figure out how to get out in front of this. Because, oh shit, these people are serious. And these people have a hell of a lot more wits, study, information, and grounding and momentum than we thought. There's a lot more than we thought. So basically, they've dug up a whole trunk of whoop ass. And they're trying to close it. Too late. It's already out. And it's not going to stop. This is just one instance. The purple pill phenomenon that's going on YouTube, spreading out all over YouTube and black YouTube, spreading out in white YouTube, spreading out all over the world. This purple pill we call red pill for women. It's not an accident. Take heart, my brothers. Okay? Justice is slow, but it's steady. Just be prepared when it does show up that you know what to do and you're ready to spring into action because your turn is coming. But the thing is, are you going to be ready for it when it shows up? I told you that they're coming back to the table. I told you they were going to negotiate. I told you they had to come back and learn about men, especially black women had to come back and compete for their men. They don't know how. Now they're taking a crash course and trying to learn how to compete for men. They can't even stand passport bros getting on a plane and go and find other women. And they have no counter narrative or argument. The narrative has changed. Now it's time to push that narrative forward. Push that narrative of choice. They don't matter what their rhetoric about who they are, what they are, and them listening to us, it doesn't matter, right? What matters is choice. Can and do black men have the right to pick the best mate, best situation for themselves? And can we shape an environment where we can do that? That's all we've ever asked for. And it's coming. But are you ready? Are you ready to take that leap when it comes? Are you ready to jump on a train when it rolls by? Because we can hear the whistle, it's coming. That's that narrative changing. That's that whistle blowing. Train's not here yet. Well, we can hear it. And it's going to be moving fast. Can you jump on it? But anyhow, I didn't want to make this long. I thought this was very significant. Okay, there's other pieces that have already shown up that have already started to appear. And everybody's scratching their heads because we didn't think this day would come. So we are kind of shocked that this day is here. So that means if this stuff showed up, other stuff will. But anyhow, with that, I'm going to jump off here. This is BGS out, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.